Adrian Newey's arrival at Aston Martin has already exposed a reality that many in the paddock are only beginning to grasp. The real advantage for 2026 is not a single aerodynamic breakthrough, but a complete redefinition of how performance is created inside a Formula One team. Newey does not start by chasing lap time. He starts by eliminating friction. Every delay in communication, every duplicated responsibility, every unclear decision chain is treated as performance loss. This is the first and most dangerous secret now emerging from Silverstone because it cannot be copied easily and it compounds over time. Lawrence Stroll's decision to make Newey a shareholder fundamentally altered the power structure inside Aston Martin. This was not a gesture of respect or prestige. It was a calculated move to ensure that Newey's authority could not be diluted by internal committees, marketing priorities, or short-term commercial pressure. With equity comes leverage, and with leverage comes speed. Newey is now operating without the political drag that often slows even elite designers inside manufacturer-linked teams. The decision to install Newey as team principal ahead of the 2026 regulation reset is equally revealing. Formula One teams historically struggle during major rule changes, when leadership is fragmented between technical, operational, and commercial departments. Newey understands that regulatory upheaval punishes hesitation. Aston Martin have chosen centralization over consensus, accepting short-term discomfort in exchange for long-term clarity. One of the clearest signals of Newey's philosophy is his adoption of an internal review system, similar to methods previously used under Christian Horner at Red Bull. Rather than relying solely on output metrics, Newey has initiated deep operational audits that analyze how information flows from simulation to design, from design to manufacturing, and from factory to track. These reviews focus on reaction time, accountability, and execution speed, areas that often decide championships under cost cap restrictions. Resulting personnel changes are not random or emotional. They are structural. Engineers and managers who could not operate at the required tempo have been removed, not because they lack talent, but because their processes slowed the system. In a budget-capped era, inefficiency is more damaging than lack of funding. Newey is aggressively reducing internal drag before the AMR26 even reaches the wind tunnel final phase. Technically, the AMR26 is already showing signs of a deeply considered aerodynamic philosophy. With active aerodynamics returning and underfloor dominance reduced, outright downforce numbers are less valuable than aerodynamic consistency across a wide operating window. Newey is prioritizing stability through yaw, pitch, and braking phases, ensuring that the car remains predictable as energy deployment fluctuates lap by lap. This philosophy aligns perfectly with the 2026 power unit regulations. With electrical energy accounting for nearly half of total output, the car must remain balanced while harvesting and deploying energy through braking zones and corner exits. Sudden balance shifts will be punished brutally. Newey's designs historically excel in these transitional states, where others struggle to maintain control. Mike Crack's assertion that Aston Martin already understands which circuits will suit the AMR26 is a significant admission. That level of confidence suggests the aerodynamic platform has already been locked conceptually. Teams lacking clarity typically hedge, building compromise solutions to protect themselves from uncertainty. Newey does the opposite. He commits early and refines relentlessly once real-world data confirms correlation. Honda's role in this project cannot be overstated. Aston Martin are no longer constrained by customer power unit packaging. Cooling layouts, battery positioning, energy recovery systems and aerodynamic compromises are being designed as a unified whole. This level of integration is where championships are quietly won or lost, especially under regulations that limit mid-season architectural change. The new Silverstone facilities finally give Newey the tools he has demanded for decades. The wind tunnel eliminates legacy correlation issues that plagued earlier Aston Martin iterations, while the simulator allows driver feedback to be translated into design changes with unprecedented speed. This shortens development loops dramatically. A decisive advantage under restricted development allowances. Aston Martin's decision to effectively abandon 2025 development now appears deliberate rather than reactive. By stepping away from incremental gains, the team preserved conceptual purity. Newey values clean data far more than marginal championship points. A compromised baseline often poisons an entire regulation cycle, something Aston Martin have actively avoided. Fernando Alonso's presence further reinforces this philosophy. Newey understands that Alonso thrives in cars that reward precision and feedback rather than aggression. The AMR26 is being shaped to allow drivers to commit fully under braking and rotation, even while managing complex energy deployment. Driver confidence once lost is almost impossible to rebuild mid-season. Secrecy has always been one of Newey's most underestimated weapons. Aston Martin's late car launch is not indecision or marketing delay. It is information denial. Under a regulation reset, even minor visual cues can reveal aerodynamic philosophy. Newey has spent decades mastering the art of revealing nothing until absolutely necessary. Pre-season testing is expected to follow the same logic. Aston Martin are unlikely to chase headline times. Instead, expect controlled programs focused on reliability, correlation, and system behavior. Newey's cars rarely show their true pace immediately. Historically, they gain performance faster than rivals once understanding deepens. Internally, Newey's restructuring has created clear lines of authority that reduce conflicting feedback loops. This matters enormously when early performance swings test organizational confidence. Teams with unclear leadership often chase false solutions. Aston Martin are deliberately avoiding that trap by enforcing clarity over comfort. The expected midfield compression in 2026 amplifies the importance of this approach. Differences of hundredths will translate into multiple grid positions. Newey understands that marginal optimization across dozens of systems beats a single visible innovation in a cost-capped environment. Mac's emphasis on execution over expectation aligns perfectly with this philosophy. The AMR26 is not designed to dominate immediately, but to evolve faster than rivals. Development trajectory, not launch position, will decide championships under these regulations. Aston Martin insiders urging patience are not lowering expectations. They are protecting the project. Newey's most successful cars historically began solid rather than spectacular. Once correlation locks in, his designs tend to outdevelop competitors at a rate that is difficult to counter. The real leak, therefore, is not a component or aerodynamic trick. It is intent. Adrian Newey is building an organization designed to convert ideas into lap time with minimal friction. That structural advantage compounds invisibly until it becomes overwhelming. In a paddock obsessed with visible secrets, the most dangerous advantage remains invisible. Newey's 2026 secret is not hidden in carbon fiber or CFD imagery, but in how Aston Martin now thinks, decides, and reacts. By the time rivals fully understand what has changed, the foundation will already be locked in. That is why this matters. The AMR26 may not shock Formula One overnight, but it may quietly position Aston Martin for sustained competitiveness before anyone realizes how decisive Newey's influence has already become.